Hey everybody, welcome to the YouTube channel for The Life-Size City, the global television series about urbanism. I'm Mikael Colville-Andersen, urban designer, author, and host of the series. And welcome back to another little session of 5-Minute Urbanism. I've received so many emails from people sending me intersections, parts of their cities that they think need fixing for this 5-minute urbanism session thing I'm doing here, and thank you for that. I'm going to try and get to as many as possible. Looking forward to continuing our little journey together. Today on 5-Minute Urbanism, we're going to take a little trip south from Copenhagen. We're going to go to Portugal, to the city in the north called Braga. I have never been that far north in Portugal. Never been to Braga. I did a little bit of research ahead of this. I checked out the fact that Braga has about 190,000 people, smaller European city. I looked at one of these tourist websites for the place. It's really interesting. This is something you're going to see across Europe. Looking at the tourist website, and it is showing me beautiful pictures of their old city center built by the Romans. Braga was. Who knew? Pretty interesting. And all of the narrative, the tourism narrative. Go for a walk holding hands with someone you love down our ancient cobblestone streets. Enjoy our traditional codfish dish that we are famous for here in this city. Go to the old cathedral. Just look at our old stuff and have a romantic kind of time there and eat some of our local food. That's it. And what they're not telling you is how most of the people in Braga are forced to live. If you have a look at it on Google Earth, you zoom in on Braga and you say, oh my God, there's the city center. It's been there for a couple thousand years. It's beautiful. The roofs, the urbanism context that we know has worked for millennia. Hello, beautiful. Wish you were here. Name that film, right? And then you can just randomly fly somewhere else in the city on Google Earth and you can find this. This is the reality that most of the people in Braga are forced to live with. Look at this infrastructure. Look at this arrogance of space. These roundabouts with these motorway flyovers, and you go up a bit and you say, oh my God, a pedestrian overpass. That is some old school shit right there. And you keep going and it's just more and more and more of the same. The tourist websites and the whole narrative, come to Braga, do not tell you about this. And I can understand why, because this is absolutely embarrassing. I don't know who decided that Braga was going to be a museum to failed traffic engineering standards, but it is. Oh. Now, I was sent this intersection by a guy following on the YouTube channel here, and a guy who lives in Braga. And finding a crappy intersection in this city for me to have a look at is not at all difficult. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Probably codfish served deliciously and available down in the old 2,000-year-old city center. So I'm going to have a look at this. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try and figure out what the hell is going on. And let's start the clock. Okay, now the first thing that I notice when I look at this is something that is just so old school. Look at that, man. Right here. There are no crosswalks. Look at that. Because here, right around here, there are pedestrian underpasses. Hey, here's a fun fact, okay? The Soviets, they copy-pasted all of the American traffic engineering standards from the 1930s and 1940s, but one of the few things that the Soviets contributed to car-centric traffic engineering was the pedestrian underpass. So this is some old school Soviet infrastructure in the north of Portugal. So right now we're gonna just do the most obvious thing here. We are going to make pedestrian crossings all the way across here, keeping people safe, allowing them to continue along their way without being sent underground like rats. While we're at it, look at these old school 1950 curved corners. We're just going to bump those out, square them off, create some more space for people. Probably do it there as well. You can do it pretty much everywhere here, can't you really? Look at that. Okay, so we got some better pedestrian crossings. I don't know what we're going to do with these. We could probably just bury them. But do not use them for people to cross the damn street, man. It's 2020. The next thing that I notice when I look at this is look at how wide the streets are right here. Look at that, man. You got parking. There's 2 lanes. There's 3 lanes. There's 4, 5, 6 lanes there. And then you go down here, you have parking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the first thing I'm going to do is just look at this parking. We're just going to take this parking. I'm going to extend the sidewalks here, right? We're just going to make this wider. And down here, we do not need this parking down here. So we're just going to eliminate that parking. We're going to widen the sidewalks. And look right here. It looks like a cafe. Some outdoor seating. What a nightmare sitting next to that busy street with 7 lanes of cars. So we're going to take this and we're going to extend it and we're going to make the sidewalk wider. The most obvious thing would be to plant some trees along here. There's absolutely no trees on this street. Let's do it over here as well, man. And while we're doing the tree thing, you can see there's like 3 trees here and then there's parking, right? Let's extend that sidewalk too. Let's extend the sidewalk here all the way along. And while we're at it, we will plant some more trees. This is just dismal. More trees, more trees. Then I'm noticing this whole area here. And I'm thinking, what is that? If you look at it, you can see sort of like some underground parking. I think it's underground parking. There's like some in and out tunnely things going on there, right? Then why do you need 20 car parking spots here? Well, then we're just going to do this. We're just going to make all of this green. And if we can't plant trees on this because there is a parking garage underneath, let's just plant some bushes. Cooling effect of grass is also measurable. I think what the city should be doing before they do any of this is they should be walking along these buildings here and they should just knock on every single door, the politicians and the traffic engineers, and they should apologize profusely, beg for forgiveness from their citizens that they have to live next to this last century infrastructure. I'm so sorry we screwed up. We shall now try to fix it. So let's look at infrastructure now. There are absolutely no bike lanes in this city, man. It is so last century. So we're going to take some of the space along the curb and create some best practice bicycle infrastructure. We're going to do it over here as well. Maybe 2.5 meters wide would be adequate. We're going to take that along the sidewalk, reallocating some of this urban space, continuing it over the intersection. But if we're going to try and create a bicycle infrastructure network, oh no, car parking, bye. The traffic calming effect of bicycle infrastructure should not be underrated. So they got some buses in this city. So let's make some bus lanes here, right? Let's give them some priority right through, all the way down here. Bus lane, bus lane, bus lane. Bus lane, bus lane, bus lane. We continue that all the way down here. Now there are buses on this route, so that is a cool thing. So we need to give them priority infrastructure, some BRT, bus rapid transit lanes, buses only. It looks like a pretty main artery, and a pretty main artery should be a democratic space for all the different forms of transport that we have at our disposal. Then you can see that we still have, some space left over here. We have some space for cars, a couple of lanes. We can maybe have 1 lane that way, 1 lane that way. I think that would be sufficient. I'm going to actually just cover this a little bit more, right? Now down here is kind of a highway thingy, and I'm thinking right away that's going to be tricky to do anything with right off the bat. But I'm thinking buses down there. I'm thinking tram lines. Yeah, I think that might be it. Braga, like so many European cities, had a tram system. They only had 2 lines because they were really small back in 1914 when they launched it. It lasted until the 1960s when I guess this kind of stuff started happening. There was loads of space to work with down in this highway kind of ditch, putting in tramways or bus rapid transit with some stations that serve the neighborhoods that they go through. No brainer. There are improvements that can be made. Planting more trees is one of them, taking back some of the public space, making some playgrounds for, I assume they have children in this city, in these neighborhoods. So let's start designing this city for the people who live there, all of them, every age group. That's democratic design. And let's stop just appeasing the traffic engineers and the politicians who allow this last century monster infrastructure to continue to be built. There is a lot of space to work with here. All the mistakes that were made with this car-centric traffic engineering in a city like this, it makes it much easier to make the transition into the 21st century and modernize the transport in Braga. A city like this in the north of Portugal, man, they don't have to go very far for inspiration. not far away, about 700 kilometers away, there's a town in the north of Spain, San Sebastian. There's a town right down the road, Vitoria-Gasteiz. These two cities have been transitioning for many years. A lot of inspiration, similar size to Braga. They should just be copy-pasting right from their own region, let alone all the other places in the world that are doing very good things in urbanism. This is just one intersection out of like way too many in this city, but this is a start. Create the bicycle infrastructure network, re-democratize the space that is available right there on the streets. You don't need 7-lane highways in a city of 200,000 people. Bus lanes, put back in the tram if you got the money for that. It's all right there for the taking. Hopefully in the near future, the city of Braga will be able to tell the world on their tourism website that we made the switch. We fixed the mistakes of the last century. Now you don't have to zoom in on our old-fashioned cobblestone city center, which is so nice. We believe in the future of our cities. We care about our citizens and their health. We have transformed for the next 100, 200 years. Come to Braga and visit that. I'd like to see that on a future version of Braga's tourism website. Until then, good luck with that. That's it for 5-Minute Urbanism today. I'm Mikael Colville-Andersen.